Good evening, everyone. We've been waiting for you. At long last, the top two teams in the NAHL meet, only this time it's at the KYC. On behalf of the Wichita Falls Wildcats, I'm Alex Von Coitel, bringing you Wildcats hockey, presented by Armored Roofing. Well, the season series between the Wildcats and the Lone Star Brahmas has been one worth following. Taking us back 3 months ago to the preseason, the Brahmas smoked the Cats in both games. However, in the games which counted, the Cats have gotten the better of the Lone Star Brahmas. They are 2-0-1 against Lone Star on the campaign and are coming off of a 4-0 shutout at the Nitec Sports Center 8 days ago, which happened last Wednesday on Thanksgiving Eve. The Brahmas had not been shut out in their own building since February of 2014, and their head coach Dan Wildfong and his team were simply stunned by last week's result. With that defeat looming freshly in their minds, we can expect the boys in black and purple to come out with their best effort here tonight. And tonight's game has no shortage of VIPs, both on and off the ice at the K. Yeager Coliseum. The league's best players at each position from the month of November will be playing. The forward of the month, Austin Albrecht, on the ice. The defenseman of the month, Cam Clark, on the ice. The goaltender of the month, Justin Kappelmaster, on the ice. An NHL scout with the Anaheim Ducks is in the building. Several Division I scouts are in attendance as well. Fast Hockey named this game the NAHL's Game of the Week. This game has the personnel, it's got the credentials. We can only hope that it lives up to the hype. The North American Hockey League's finest will hash things out in just a few minutes. Wildcats, Brahmas next. And that was the national anthem sung by Wichita Falls' very own Big John Wilson. We extend a very heartfelt stick tap his way. Of course, he's been dealing with the issues, medical issues. He's been diagnosed with kidney cancer, and of course, our thoughts and prayers are with Big John Wilson, who's been an integral part of the Wildcats community for the last 6 years. And we wish him all the best and hope he can continue singing the national anthem for the Wildcats. We await the ceremonial puck drop in the face-off circle to the right of Justin Kappelmaster, who will be between the pipes for your Wichita Falls Wildcats. Austin Albrecht and Sean Giles were the ceremonial puck drop face-off men. And starting tonight for the Lone Star Brahmas, Brandon Estes and Bud Madej will be the blue liners. The forwards tonight for the Lone Star Brahmas, starting will be Joey Fallon, the Princeton commit at center, who is flanked by Swedish wingers Martin Mellberg and Oscar Andrin. Tending goal for the Lone Star Brahmas, Connor O'Brien, an outstanding goaltender for Coach Wildfong and the Brahmas, a .924 save percentage to his credit this season. As for the Wildcats, the Red Hot 20s line gets the nod. On defense, Jake Dalton, Noah Gilreath, Kappelmaster, as was mentioned, tending goal for the Wildcats. The puck drops. This game is underway. The NAHL's finest will hash things out here at the KYC. Dalton flips one in from center ice, and it's swallowed up by O'Brien, who's got his first touch on the puck just 9 seconds into the game. Something worth mentioning here tonight for the Lone Star Brahmas. They've got a new player. Number 2 will be on Hogan Davidson's line. Sheptitsky will be the right winger on that line. He has not played a game for the Brahmas. He's played several on the Tier 3 team, the NA3HL Brahmas. But he has not yet played a North American Hockey League game, so it will be interesting to track his progress as the Brahmas are just banged up and down their lineup. Tomas Brejka is out with an injury to his arm. Of course, it was sliced open by a skate. We really wish the best for Tomas Brejka, who will be going home shortly back to his family in Prague in the Czech Republic for about 3 weeks before coming back here. And then Kyle Pataba, the commit to the Air Force Academy, is also unavailable to Coach Wildfong and the Brahmas, so they've got a few players banged up. Marabella as well is not in the game as Bulio missed the net, rattled up high. Sipus' long drive went off a Brahmas stick and up off the mesh in behind Connor O'Brien. The season, O'Brien's 7-0-2. He has not lost 7-0-3 rather. He has not lost yet in regulation time. Then again, the Brahmas haven't really lost a whole lot of games in regulation time, just 2, one of which was the shootout win the Wildcats had. The shutout win, I should say, the Wildcats had last Wednesday. The other was early on in the season on the road in Topeka against the Roadrunners. Giles, the alternate captain for Lone Star, has it behind his own net, wraps it around the half boards, and the Brahmas are out to center. Cody Wickline played it off the skate there of his left winger, Alex Berardinelli. Berardinelli goes around the backboards with it, taken by Peter Kessel, stolen from him by Adam Goodsir. Goodsir, of course, being heavily scouted by a couple of Division I university scouts in attendance tonight, one of which is St. Lawrence University. Goodsir with a long shot, pad save Connor O'Brien, picked up there by Giles. Sean Giles, number 27 in black, skates it down the left wing side, wraps it around the end boards. Troy York tries to cycle it further. He's stymied there along the half wall by Rourke Russell, who is also being scouted by the Anaheim Ducks tonight. Russell trying to push it back. He's got rounds at the goal line. Russell wins the puck, tries to work it up the boards, held in by Carson Kelly. Russell's got it again. Rourke goes D-to-D for Michael Rounds. Rounds played one out to center, went off the stick of Kelly, in across the line is Lown. His shot fought off by the goaltender, Connor O'Brien. Looked like it stung him a little bit by the clavicle, but he makes the save, and that's going to be his 4th on the night already. Had a pretty busy start. We're just 2 minutes in, not even. 4 saves for the Lone Star goaltender. Kapelmaster has yet to face a shot. Soon to be attending Princeton University with Wichita Falls former Wildcat Austin Shaw, now Princeton's goaltender, one of their goaltenders, faces off against Alexei Poikla, who wins it. Rourke the shot, blocker saved by O'Brien, pushed in behind the net. Poikla has Russell open at the point, tries to give it to him, but he fanned on the pass. Instead it goes to Paisan. Now Reisinger battles for it. A European line on the ice tonight for Coach LaFontaine and the Wildcats. Alexei Poikla, Andre Paisan, and Max Reisinger from Finland, Denmark, and Austria, respectively. Here's Poikla, tried to center one, it's loose in front. Paisan had his stick lifted at the last second. Good defensive play by Joey Fallon. Paisan probably would have had a tap-in goal. Meanwhile, the Brahmas escape out to center. John Zimmerman played it off the stick of his left winger, Martin Melberg. It's redirected into the Wildcat zone as Oscar Andrin goes in deep for it, and he battles away with Michael Rounds. Rounds chips it up the boards. Poikla is harassed there by a couple of Brahmas, then brought down by his fellow Scandinavian, Oscar Andrin, who now goes for a line change. The Wildcats mishandle the puck at the opposing blue line. Hoga Davidson skates it back into the Wichita Falls zone. Pressured along the half wall upon entering the zone by Nick Rosa, and there goes Austin Albrecht down the left wing. Albrecht run into by Bud Madej, scooped in behind the net and wrapped around the boards by Hogan Davidson, the former Wildcat, and the puck has just been chopped over the glass and out of play. So we get another whistle, stopping play. 16:52 remain in period 1. Still no score in our game, still no shots for the Lone Star Brahmas. We're off to a bit of a slow start. The Wildcats have 5 shots, and now they will take this neutral zone face-off about 3 minutes into the game. Nick Rosa against Cody Wickline. Wickline wins the draw. Madej, the Chicago native, plays it across. His defensive partner, Brandon Estes, fires it around the backboards. Kapelmaster has gotten a rare touch on the puck. Albrecht chips it ahead for Jake Dalton, looking to split the D, and he did, but Lazarus mishandled it a bit, and it was coughed up and scooped up by Estes, who just hooks one back out to center. Noah Gilraith gloves it down. regains the Lone Star line, and it's chipped in behind the Brahmas net. Lazarus battling for it with Brandon Estes down there. Lazarus pushed it free, but it was scooped up by Alex Berardinelli, who will skate it back down the left wing side. Kessel goes to the net. Berardinelli's shot fought off Kappelmaster, and it went up off the mesh, so we get another stoppage of play. Kappelmaster with his first save of the game. First period of Wildcats hockey is brought to you by American Classifieds, as for the first time a defensive zone faceoff will take place for the Wildcats. Adam Goodsir taking the draw, and he lost it cleanly. A turnaround shot by Troy York got blocked. Puck corralled there by Austin Beaulieu. Beaulieu whips it up the near sideboards. Giles intercepts it behind his own net. He was pressured by Litviak, but he managed to escape the Brahmas zone. And here's Carson Kelly. Kelly collides with the other number 25, and Litviak, Kappelmaster fan on the clearing attempt. Pops into the near corner. Fallon harassed by Adam Goodsir. It's a 3-on-2 puck battle behind the Wildcats net, favoring Wichita Falls. Sipus, Goodsir, and Russell all battling for it, or that's Baum rather. The Brahmas end up with it, however. Here's a long shot from the point, and it was blocked. Joey Fallon picks it up. Looks like Troy York might have been a bit stung from blocking that shot. Puck works its way back into the high slot. A long slap shot from Clark is into the glove and held by Justin Kappelmaster. Justin Kappelmaster, November's Vaughn NAHL Goaltender of the Month. He had an outstanding month of November, folks. 5-1 record. He had a shutout against what was then the best team in the league in the Lone Star Brahmas. He had an incredible save percentage with a .926, and he had only allowed 14 goals in 7 games played at 2.12 goals against average. So just a phenomenal month for Justin Kappelmaster, who happened to be the runner-up for October's goaltender of the month. He lost it to Janesville's goaltender, Jack LaFontaine. No relation to the Wildcats head coach, John LaFontaine. And I guess you can say revenge gained by the Wildcats goaltender Kappelmaster. Now here's Ben Lowndes, speeds his way into the Lone Star zone, puts it in front, sticked away by the goaltender O'Brien. Looks like Yeager had a blowout down in the corner. Peter Kessel played it to his stick. Here's Carson Kelly returning for Kessel, and it was wide. Picked up there in the blue paint by Russell. Swung behind the net, a wraparound try, stopped by Kappelmaster. He stopped it again. Berardinelli thinks he scored, but the referee believes otherwise. Boy, this kid, number 7 in black, is quick. He's got lightning-like speed, especially going north-south, but he just displayed there. It's not limited to skating up and down. He's got some quickness, too, going side to side, as he nearly scores on a wraparound try against Justin Kappelmaster, who it looked like was the only Wildcat paying attention down there. Here's Jake Dalton playing it behind his own net. Advances it down the right wing side for Max Reisinger, the longest tenured Wildcat, gains the red line and chips it all the way into the Lone Star zone. Bud Madej tries to wrap it around the boards. It looks like it went up over the glass and out of play. 5.5 minutes into this game. 5-2 are the shots on goal. Still no score in our game. Alexei Poikla will take the face-off to the right of Connor O'Brien. Poikla wins it cleanly. Gilreath shot it. It was blocked by Madej. Puck rolls towards the left corner. Reisinger picks it up on his backhand, tries to shimmy it back to Dalton. It flops into the air, into the slot. Paisan bats it down. He's defended every step of the way there by Bud Madej. Whacked off the boards. Gilreath's long shot just missed, and it goes in. It went off of O'Brien's skate. Gilreath has his first goal as a Wichita Falls Wildcat, and the Cats lead 1-0. Kappelmaster plays it behind his own net around the far corner boards. Sipus playing in his last game as a Wildcat this year. He will play at the start of next annual year, I guess I should say, as the 6'5" defenseman will be returning to his home country of Lithuania to play in the World Junior Championships. And we, of course, wish the best of luck to Demantas Sipis. He's been a solid stay-at-home defenseman for the Wichita Falls Wildcats. He's been somebody that's come aboard and really blossomed under the tutelage of the Wildcats' new assistant coach, Josh Nelson, who was a former defenseman in this league with the Fairbanks Ice Dogs. A very skilled and savvy defenseman with Minnesota State Mankato in Division I college hockey. Also an assistant coach at Shattuck St. Mary's High School, one of the best high school hockey programs in the entire country. They both happen to shoot the same way. They were both right-handed shooting defensemen. The only other right-handed defenseman on the Wildcats is Jake Dalton. So, believe it or not, that does make a difference in practice when it comes to stick positioning and boards play and things like that. So, Demantas Sipis certainly somebody who's learned a lot since coming on board with the Wildcats, and he's gotten better each and every game. Puck chipped back to the deep slot. Rourke Russell holds on, fires through traffic, stopped, rebound, Beaulieu scores! And just like that, the Cats lead 2-0. Austin Beaulieu remains red hot. His 7th goal of the season, his 17th point of the season. Beaulieu had a week to remember. A couple of weeks ago, he was actually named KFDX's Athlete of the Week. That's the first time a Wildcat had received that honor in what seems like ages. It's almost always given to football players at Midwestern State University, sometimes basketball players. Hockey usually does not come first on the priority list in Wichita Falls, Texas. Austin Beaulieu just had that great of a month. Or a week, I should say, and it looks like it hadn't stopped there. Brandon Estes springs one across the line. Berardinelli picked it up and it was slashed off the puck, and it looks like maybe an offside penalty here against the Lone Star Brahmas. Poikula will now take the face-off against Peter Bates in the circle to the right of Justin Kappelmaster. Poikula jumped the gun a little bit. It's won by Bates. A wrist shot stopped by Kappelmaster on Troy York. York, one of several Texas natives on this Lone Star team. He's from Dallas. A few players from that area on the Lone Star Brahmas. The Wildcats only have one in Jeff Baum. His original plan was actually to play for the Lone Star Brahmas, but his father came to the agreement that he would rather play for John LaFontaine, as the Wildcats have just iced the puck. Jeff Baum's father, of course, in attendance at just about every home game. He is here tonight. Thank you very much to Mr. Jeff Baum and the entire Baum family for your support you've given us, not only on fasthockey.com and on Facebook, Twitter, and our media outlets, but also with your attendance at our games. Folks, if any of you watching back home would like me to give you a shout out at any time in this game, go ahead and send the Wildcats Twitter page a message. Let us know where you're watching it from. Let us know why you're tuning in, and I'll be sure to give you a shout out before this game comes to an end. Here's Martin Melberg, number 10 in black, deliberately skates it through neutral ice and sends one rink wide, and it's batted into the Wildcat zone there by Dalton Skelly. Rourke Russell picks it up behind the Wildcats net with his head up all the way, makes an outlet pass, and here's Austin Albrecht. Albrecht trickles it in deep. Connor O'Brien backhands one, nearly a bit of a dangerous play. Rosa tries to steal it. He does. Kick to his skate there by Austin Albrecht. Albrecht battles for it now along the half wall, and the Brahmas get it out to center. Oscar Andrin, the Brahmas' leading scorer, played into the Wichita Falls zone. Batted down by Michael Rounds, and now here's Rourke again. Behind the Wildcats net, Rounds. Beautiful pass, crisply on the tape for Lazarus, who takes a hit, and there he goes into the Lone Star bench. He's having a difficult time getting out of there. He finally does. And now he heads to the bench to complete the line change for the Wildcats. Meanwhile, the Brahmas skate it back through center. Gilreath intercepts, played it off of a Wildcat skate. Back off the far half boards. Now it's in the Brahma zone. Brandon Estes goes D-to-D for Bud Madej. Madej returns it for Estes. He will out with the puck into center ice. Peter Kessel redirects it further into Wichita Falls territory. Now Austin Bolio puts on the brakes in the opposing zone. A long shot from Gilreath got blocked. Slammed off the glass by Berardinelli. That one is going to go the length, but not far enough. Gilreath's going to get to it before it crosses the goal line. Icing being nullified as a result. Peter Kessel finished his check on Noah Gilreath, who's got it now. Gilreath returns it for Van Wy in the Wildcat zone. Van Wy down the left wing, pushed off the puck at center ice. We've passed the midway point of period 1, 9.5 to go in the first period, brought to you by American Classifieds. 2-0 the score in favor of the Wichita Falls Wildcats. The Brahmas have really got to pick up the pace if they want to have a chance in this game. The Wildcats have only lost one game all season in this building, and it came at the hands of the Topeka Roadrunners a couple of weeks ago, a 5-2 defeat at the hands of Topeka, who have now won 6 consecutive games. Cam Clark, the defenseman of the month, takes a long wrist shot that was fired wide on the short side. Ben Lown banks it off the far half boards, chipped further out to center by Eric Yeager. Cam Clark is back in his own zone now. The Ferris State commit gets the return there from Troy York. Clark has to turn away from the forechecking Ben Lown. Clark will skate it all the way back in behind his own goal. Looks to make a perfect outlet pass. Not sure he's going to be able to do it, so he'll just skate it out through his own zone and get it out to center. Fired a high saucer pass that was batted down by Andre Paisan. Paisan fires it back into the Lone Star zone. O'Brien drops it off for his defenseman Sean Giles, an alternate captain. Cam Clark fought off the puck by Max Reisinger, pushed free for Andre Paisan. It eluded his stick. Sheptitsky now in behind his own goal. Hogan Davidson. Sean Giles. Cam Clark will try to clear. The Brahmas have been pinned in their own zone for quite some time, so Clark will just airmail this one all the way out to center, giving the Brahmas plenty of time to make a line change. Now here's Alexei Poikla. Poikla tried to set up Albrecht. It was batted away last second by Dalton Skelly, or Albrecht would have had a point-blank try at Connor O'Brien, who has looked a bit shaky to start this period. And that's putting it lightly. Alexei Poikla looked to center, and it was intercepted by Sean Giles. Very tired at the end of a shift. He will just feather this one in and go for a line change. Now behind the Wildcats net, Martin Melberg shoved off the puck. Michael Rounds will try to get it out. Joey Fallon said no. Fallon turns and backhands one off the skate of Lazarus. Here's a drive, stick save Kappelmaster on Dalton Skelly. Rounds for Johnny Lazarus. Here's Austin Albrecht. Rounds is the trailer. Albrecht crisscrosses with Lazarus. Put it in front. It goes through the net mouth and wide. And it's picked up by Oscar Andrin, the Swedish winger for the Brahmas. Dropped off behind the Lone Star net. John Zimmerman's got it. Zimmerman ahead for Alex Berardinelli, and we're going to see that speed of his right here, folks. Berardinelli flies down the left wing side, left circle, drops it off. Kessel's shot, pad save, rebound comes out to Lazarus, and it bounces in behind the Wildcats net. Nick Rosa will pick it up and get it out of harm's way. He played it off the skate of Peter Kessel. And now Estes goes across for Bud Madej. Madej fires it around the end boards. It hopped over Kappelmaster's stick. Rourke Russell being observed very closely tonight. A Long Beach native being watched by Steve Lyons of the Anaheim Ducks. He's a scout for the NHL's Ducks, and Rourke was not told about it intentionally. Puck fired in behind Kappelmaster's net. It wobbled off his stick once again. Puck played off the glove of Austin Bolio. Chipped back into the slot. Troy York tried to backhand one. It was blocked by Russell, as Goodsir will skate it back over the Wildcats logo and fire a long distance shot on net, and easy stop is made by O'Brien. Goodsir and York chirping things up a little bit in the far corner in the Lone Star zone. Just under 6 minutes remain here in period one, brought to you by American Classifieds. 8-5 are the shots on goal. 2-0 is the score in favor of the Wildcats. The goals being scored by Noah Gilraith, his first as a Wildcat, and Austin Beaulieu, his 7th of the season. That is a very, very well-deserved goal for Noah Gilraith of the Wildcats. He had an exceptional game last Friday night, 6 days ago, against the Odessa Jackalopes. Probably the biggest reason the Wildcats won that game, aside from Justin Kappelmaster. Remember, it was the first shootout the Wildcats have won all season long. The final score ended up being 2-1. Adam Goodsir scored the only shootout goal. Kappelmaster was perfect on all 3 shots. But it's easy to forget how we got to that point. And during the game, on multiple occasions, Noah Gilraith swept the puck out of harm's way. It was probably inches away from crossing the goal line. After Kappelmaster made the initial stop, didn't quite see it. Gilraith did, however, and swept it out of the blue ice and saved probably 2 goals. Certainly 1, possibly 2 goals that game. And those are the types of plays that don't always get the glory or don't show up on the stats sheet. So a very well-deserved goal for Noah Gilraith, who has worked extremely hard since arriving in Wichita Falls, and congratulations to him on his first goal as a Wildcat. Here's Martin Melberg. Goes cross ice for his fellow Swede, and the puck is dumped into Wichita Falls territory. Yeager takes a hit from behind by Melberg, who's hauled down. Ben Lown scoops up the loose puck. Pushed off the puck there by Joey Fallon. Dalton strips it away from him. Yeager has to pivot there and neutral ice. Fallon gets it right back into Wichita Falls territory. Puck chopped back out to the deep slot. Oscar Andrin stick handling away from Yeager. Andrin protects that puck on his backhand, turns away from Gilraith, slides it onto the back. Here's a shot from Giles that went off the crossbar. Or perhaps it was waffle boarded there by Kappelmaster's blocker. Whatever the case, the faceoff will stay in the Wildcat zone. Excuse me, it comes out to center. It must have hit the crossbar in that case. Cody Wickline against Alexei Poikla now in the face-off circle, and it's won by Poikla. Wildcats now work on their breakout. Alexei Poikla skates it down the left wing side. Kessel kicked it back into neutral ice. Sipus fell, but he got it back to Baum. Jeff Baum, with his father in attendance as usual, chipped it out into neutral ice, but here come the Brahmas. Cody Wickline down the slot, played it across, hoping for Berardinelli. Even he's not that quick. Intercepted behind the Wildcats net by Alexei Poikla. Always playing a 200-foot game as the Finnish centerman, and he's doing so now, battling for that puck behind his own goal. The 16s battle away for it now. Cody Wickline for the Brahmas, Jeff Baum for the Wildcats. It comes loose. Baum kicked it to the half boards, and Reisinger played it to nobody in particular, but the Wildcats are going to get this puck out. Demontis Sipus, in his last game of the 2015 year, will fire a long shot that missed the net on the blocker side of O'Brien. Rosa chips it into the slot. Dalton Skelly intercepts. Skelly played it off the half boards. Bates took a chop at it, bounces into the air, and finally Albrecht will skate it over the Lone Star line. Did well to hold on, played it into the slot. Rosa's shot, stick save. O'Brien, rebound, trickles up over the net. And the net has been dislodged, so we're going to get a whistle and a stoppage of play. Rosa wins the offensive zone faceoff. Rourke Russell's long shot redirected and blocked by Estes. Puck batted into the far corner there, and Albrecht will swing it in behind for Lazarus. Chip back to Russell. He shot it wide intentionally. Bounces off the backboards. He was hoping for Rosa, but he was tied up by Estes. Pushed in deep. Albrecht centered. Nobody was there except for Troy York, who intercepted and pushed it out to his sent him in Carson Kelly. Puck one-handed back out to center, picked off easily by Nick Rosa. Now here's Russell. Rourke failed to get it in deep. Rounds did not. He gets it behind the Lone Star net. O'Brien touches it, leaves it there for Bud Madej. Blasted around the half boards. Carson Kelly gave it right back to Madej. Brandon Estes. Peter Bates with a long-range shot from about 100 feet, and an easy save is made by Justin Kappelmaster, who's got his 7th of the night. Brahmas win the offensive zone face-off that followed, but it rolled all the way back out to center ice. Puck batted down, and here comes Jake Dalton. The Bowling Green commit steps across the Lone Star line, plays it into an empty corner, now occupied by Austin Bolio, chipped it in deep. Goodsir back to the far point. Gilraith tried to give him the return. It goes all the way in behind the Lone Star net. Chipped further off the left half boards. Litviak keeps it in, does a toe drag, and backhands one towards the slot. Puck bounces in the air. Goodsir just chops at it, goes off the back of the net. Mellberg and Litviak going at it now. Litviak sidesteps Giles, tries to power his way to the net. Goodsir scoops it up, drop back. Gilraith, Dalton, left point, towards the corner now. Austin Bolio's got it, left circle. Backhands one behind the net, hoping for Poikla. He's tied up by Sean Giles. Goodsir will try to help out and scoop up the loose puck, and he did. Fired it off the side of the net. The Brahmas are finally able to clear out to center ice. And Goodsir just hauls down Joey Fallon, and that's going to be a breakaway, a penalty rather, against number 12 in white, Adam Goodsir. It's going to be a hook. And as good as Goodsir has been for the Wildcats all season long, that has undoubtedly been his Achilles heel. He's been extremely penalty prone for the Wichita Falls Wildcats, always to be expected with younger players. In fact, the youngest player in the South Division, but he's now got 40 penalty minutes on the season. Second only to Austin Albrecht, who's gotten into 2 fights, so certainly an area he would like to work on. Adam Goodsir is his discipline. If he can do that, then boy, will he be a pretty darn good hockey player. At 6'2", he's got incredible hands for his size. He's got the size to play like a power forward, but he's got an incredibly hard and a bit of a deceptive shot. He's already got 14 goals on the season for the Wildcats. Nobody else besides Albrecht is really close behind him. And you see him before every game practicing his stick handling abilities, which are top-notch. His wrist strength and his hands are sensational, as is his shot, as his 14 goals would suggest. So he's got the size, he's got the hands, he's got the shot. He's got all the elements. But there are areas that can be improved, and that's certainly one of them. Garrett Van Wy picks up the puck and shoots it all the way down the length of the ice, and it's going to be picked up by Connor O'Brien and left behind his own net, and Bud Madej's got it now. Madej will skate the puck through his own zone. And just drops it off, and it's fired onto the tape for Cody Wickline, who banks it around the half boards and behind the Wildcats net. Peter Kessel battles for it. The Wildcats trying to improve their Parkway Grill penalty kill even more than it already is. It's one of the best penalty killing units in the league. The only one better is this team, the Lone Star Brahmas. The Brahmas coming through at a 90.7% penalty killing rate. The Wildcats close behind them, 88.8%. No other team is really close behind these two in the penalty killing department. The Brahmas fire the puck in deep. Rourke Russell slams it around the boards, fanned on it a bit. Yeager tries to chip it ahead, and he does successfully beyond the stick of Martin Mellberg and all the way down the ice for Cam Clark. Check that, it is Bud Madej. Now Clark's got it down the left wing. Clark gains the Wichita Falls line, does a spinorama, cuts the net, centers one. It was fanned down there in the slot. I believe that was Oscar Andren. Boy, what a play by Cameron Clark, and we're starting to see why he was named the NAHL's Defenseman of the Month in November. Here's Clark, right wing side, shoots off the glove of Kappelmaster. He had to make a tough save, and that's going to do it for period 1. After 20 minutes of hockey have gone by, the Wildcats have gotten the better of the Brahmas up till this point. 2-0 the score. The goals have been scored by Noah Gilraith, his first as a Wildcat, and by Austin Bolio, his 7th of the season. 2-0 the score in favor of the Wildcats. The shots are all deadlocked at 9 apiece. We're going to take a short break. Unfortunately, due to the short week, we have not been able to get an interview with one of the players. So we'll bring you an out-of-town scoreboard when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to your first intermission report, Wildcats fans. The Wildcats find themselves up 2-0 against the Lone Star Brahmas. One period into this game, the goals were scored from Noah Gilraith and from Austin Beaulieu, though according to Point Streak it was Adam Goodsir. We know that was not the case. Austin Beaulieu will be credited eventually with that goal. As of right now, it says he's got the primary assist. With that goal, Austin Beaulieu has his 7th of the season as he continues to light the lamp and produce for the Wildcats. One of the players who was expected to have an outstanding season this year. I don't know if expectations were higher on anybody else on this team than Austin Beaulieu, because he was second on the Wildcats in scoring last season with 55. He trailed only Colin Staub, who's now with the University of Denver. Coming off of a 55-point season, nearly a point-per-game player in 2014-2015. The other veterans on this team were really all that close to him last year in points. So expectations on this young man from Coral Springs, Florida were extremely high, and he has dealt with the pressure very well. Of course, some other veterans have stepped up as well and played much better this year than they were last year. Austin Albrecht, for example, has already passed his point total from last year. He's got 31 on the season. Last year, Austin Albrecht only had 23, so an increased role for Austin Albrecht, and he has responded and relished that opportunity. And has just had an outstanding year in really any way you cut it. And his line mates as well, as he said in the quote when he was for the article on him earning the NHL's Forward of the Month. As hockey players so often do, they immediately praise their teammates before themselves. Two of those players were his line mates, of course, Nick Rosa and Johnny Lazarus. Lazarus, another veteran on this team. Another player who appears to be en route to passing his point total from last year. He's still 5 points from doing so, but there's a lot of hockey left to be played, folks. In 52 games last season, Lazarus had 28 points, so pretty good numbers for Johnny Lazarus last year, but especially when you consider that he didn't have a whole lot of power play time last season. But this season is a whole nother story. He has produced at virtually a point-per-game pace. He's got 23 points in just 25 games. He's another young man who's having an outstanding season, hoping to impress some Division I colleges throughout the country. As for your out-of-town scoreboard, it looks like there are 3 games taking place tonight the North American Hockey League, and they all happen to be South Divisional matchups, so that's exciting and relevant for Wildcats fans. 3 Thursday night games, 6 teams playing, all of them belonging in the South Division. Corpus Christi at the Ector County Coliseum now playing the Odessa Jackalopes. That game all deadlocked at 2 goals apiece. Jason Watts opened the scoring for Odessa. It was shortly answered a few minutes later by Nathan Breyer, an alternate captain for the Corpus Christi Ice Rays. And then a few minutes after that, Brendan Miller scored one for Corpus Christi, gave the Ice Rays a 2-1 lead, which was followed by a Hampus Shodal short-handed goal for the Odessa Jackalopes. So that game all notched up at 2 goals apiece. Hampus Shodal continues to light the lamp for Odessa. And boy, is that guy an incredible player. A bit of a surprise that he hasn't committed anywhere yet. A veteran player, a Swedish power forward. He plays sort of a similar style to Adam Goodsir. He likes to use his size to his advantage. And he's got good hands for his size and a very good shot. He's a bit more of a prototypical power forward than Adam Goodsir. Probably a bit less of a natural sniper. But the two of them have gone at it quite a bit in the 7 times the Wildcats and Jackalopes have played this season. Shodell continues to lead the way for Coach Greg Gatto and the Jackalopes. So again, that game all tied up at 2 goals apiece. The Topeka Roadrunners are hosting the Amarillo Bulls amidst a very hot win streak. The Roadrunners, it looks like, have just scored a goal. Sammy Tavernier just scored 15 minutes and 56 seconds into period 1 to give the Roadrunners a 1-0 lead over the struggling Bulls, who have not won a game in quite some time. The last time the Amarillo Bulls took home a W, looks like it was against the Wildcats way back on November 6th. It's gone from bad to worse for the Amarillo Bulls, and they've really got to figure out something soon, as we're approaching the midway point of the 2015-16 season. Got to figure out some kind of formula to get their season turned around. Topeka now looking for its 7th consecutive win. They lead 1-0 as that game nears its first intermission. Meanwhile, back at the KYC, we're about 6 minutes removed from second period action, brought to you by American Classifieds. All that and more coming your way when we come back. Stay tuned. And welcome back, Wildcats fans. We're just 45 seconds away from second period action, brought to you by American Classifieds. Adam Goodsir serving the last 4 seconds of a hooking penalty. The Parkway Grill penalty kill is just that much time from expiring, and the Wildcats are en route to improving even further in that department. Of course, their penalty kill has been the second best in the entire league for seemingly months now, trailing only the Lone Star Brahmas. And Adam Goodsir is out of the box. The Wildcats are 1 for 1 tonight on the Parkway Grill penalty kill, as the Brahmas look to do some damage here in the attacking zone, but it looks like they were cut offside, so we get a whistle and a stoppage of play. Neutral zone draws, won by the Brahmas. Bud Madej hammers it wide of the goal. Kapelmaster plays it behind his own net. Dalton gives it away there. Andrin turns it back over to Dalton. Andrin applying some pressure. He skates it away from Dalton back to the point. Madej's long shot bounces into the glove of Kapelmaster, who's got his 10th save of the evening. I'd like to give a shout out to Madison Russell, the sister to Rourke Russell. She's tuning in all the way from Long Beach, California, so thank you very much for your support, Madison. We really appreciate you tuning in to Wildcats hockey presented by Armored Roofing, and I'm sure you're enjoying the game that Rourke has had up to this point with some scouts in attendance here. He had a really good long-range shot, which created that second goal scored by Austin Beaulieu as it was coughed up by the netminder, Connor O'Brien. Even though Rourke Russell is committed to playing Division I hockey at the University of Miami of Ohio, never hurts to impress some scouts from other leagues as well. And I'm sure he has done that tonight. Here's Peter Bates. Another Chicago native dumps it into the opposite corner. Rourke Russell, or Nick Rosa rather, gives it away as a long backhand shot is patted away by Kapelmaster. Second chance flutters wide out the short side. It's going to be scooped up by Austin Albrecht. Albrecht negotiates his way into the Lone Star zone, took a shot that trickled off a stick. Chipped back to the point, couldn't be kept in there by Jeff Baum, and Sipus will have to gun it down into his own zone. Demontis Sipus rattles it off the glass, held in by Peter Kessel. Good move around a check on his backhand, shoots, pad save Kapelmaster. Picked up there by Lown, tried to clear. Kessel with another long-range shot. Taken out of there by Demontis Sipus. And he springs Reisinger down the left wing. That is Van Wy, rather. Around the near half boards, here's Alex Berardinelli. Blows right past Michael Rounds. Berardinelli in, shoots, hit the post. Michael Rounds for Eric Yeager down the right wing side. Tries to get around Dalton Skelly. Puck rolls into the corner. The Brahmas cycle it up the boards, and here's Berardinelli. Fires it out to Peter Kessel, who just banks it around the glass. And it bounces along the wall. Christian played it in deep. Hogan Davidson gave it back to him. Matt Christian slides it back to the left point. Brandon Estes has to turn away from Lown. Wildcats work it out to center, and it looks like, what have we here? A trip will be called against the Lone Star Brahmas. Hogan Davidson, the former Wildcat, is going to have a seat. Some heckling going over there in the Lone Star penalty box to the former Wildcat who got himself into a fight the other week against Austin Albrecht in last week's 4-0 Wildcat win. Adam Goodsir, Alexei Poikla, Austin Beaulieu, Eric Yeager, and Michael Rounds on the ice for the first Jim Arnold Collision power play of the night. Brahmas have just fired the puck over the glass and out of play. Adam Goodsir is going to take this draw to the left of Connor O'Brien. He squares up against Cody Wickline. The Brahmas win the face-off. Here's Bud Madej, tries to get it out. Yeager keeps it in, hoping to chip it back to Poikla. Instead goes down low to Adam Goodsir. Goodsir goes back to Yeager. Poikla jars it loose, slips it back to Rounds. walks the blue line, returns for Poikala. Near point, rattles it in behind the net. Goodsir backhands one around the far half boards. Yeager chipped it back to Rounds, who's got it. Long range shot blocked down, and Madej will clear. This is the league's second best power play unit going up against the league's best penalty killing unit. So, boy, this game is just a clash of the Titans in every sense of the word. Beaulieu's shot hit the near post. Second chance. It's covered up there in between the wickets, it looks like, of Connor O'Brien. Boy, was that close. Austin Beaulieu came inches away from getting his second goal of the night and his 8th on the season. Johnny Lazarus will now take this face-off. And speaking of Johnny Lazarus, tuning into tonight's game is his buddy from back home, Chase Jaloza. Thank you so much, Chase, for your support and tuning into Wildcats hockey presented by Armored Roofing. We hope you're enjoying the game up till this point and the season that Johnny Lazarus has had thus far, which has been absolutely incredible. 23 points in 25 games. Here's Baum in the deep slot. Albrecht near circle, takes the shot. Went off a Brahmas skate. Bounces in behind the net. Cam Clark and Albrecht battling away for it. Lazarus wraps it around the far half boards. Baum goes across. Here's Paisan. Paisan plays it in behind there for Albrecht, who's wrapped up by Sean Giles. Paisan scoops up the loose puck and feathers it back to Baum in the deep slot again. Baum from straight away, long wrist shot, soaked up O'Brien, and he holds on. Adam Goodsir will now take the offensive zone face-off. That power play unit back on the ice for Coach LaFontaine and the Wildcats, but the time is coming to an end. Just 20 seconds remain on the Jim Arnold Collision power play. Time for probably one last rush. As Poikala gains the blue line, Goodsir's tripped up by Joey Fallon. Poikala wedges it free in behind the Lone Star net. Beaulieu ran into the referee along the far half boards. Puck chipped out to center. Berardinelli could have a breakaway. Diving there is Rounds, and he broke it up. Check that, it was Poikala. In front, centering pass, one-timed wide there by Joey Fallon. And man, that was the Brahmas' best chance of the game. Davidson takes a shot, went off a Wildcat skate. Some chaos ensuing now in the Wichita Falls zone. Goodsir trying to calm things down. He plays it around the boards, and Beaulieu gets it out to center. Appelmaster leaves it behind the Wildcats net. Rounds has to pivot away from the forecheck of Joey Fallon. Rounds recovers now in behind his own goal. To the near corner for Eric Yeager. Fallon dove, then goes to the bench for a line change. Did well to keep the pressure on the Wildcats, who have since been able to clear out to center. Very tired skaters on the ice for Wichita Falls, and we get a whistle and a stoppage. This puck will end up in the neutral zone, I believe. No, it will take place all the way in the Lone Star zone. I'm not sure what happened here. Faceoff will take place to the left of Connor O'Brien. Tyler Loftus will drop the puck. Nick Rosa's line, the 20s line on the ice for LaFontaine and the Wildcats. Here's Brandon Estes. Played it off the skate of Troy York. York is stymied there by Noah Gilraith. Gilraith tries to jimmy it loose. He eventually does. Albrecht centers, but it was picked off on one hand there by Carson Kelly, and here come the Brahmas. Skelly for Peter Bates. Skelly to the net. That's Madej, rather. He tried to shoot, and it was blocked. Backhanded around the boards by Nick Rosa, who took a bit of a funny tumble into the end boards. Rink-wide pass from Albrecht to Lazarus. Bounced off his skates. Lazarus runs into Troy York and picks up the loose puck near circle. Turns and wraps it around the corner boards, hoping for Rosa. Got Albrecht instead. And Carson Kelly will just harmlessly skate this one out of trouble, and we get another whistle, and again, I'm not sure why. Looks like the referee could have some blood, folks. He's gone over to the Wildcats penalty box where he was given a towel by Wildcats off-ice official Jim Jeffries. That is Ian Gendro, a new referee Hope he's okay. Long ago, just 6 days ago, in fact, that a referee was injured on a play in another Wildcats game in Odessa. His name escapes me at the moment. I'm not quite remembering who the referee was, but he took a tumble over Danny Corrali, a defenseman for the Odessa Jackalopes, and I believe he was diagnosed with a concussion. He would not return the following day for game 2 of that series, which the Wildcats would win 6-3. And it looks like Gendro is okay. So this puck will drop in the neutral zone. The Brahmas win the face-off cleanly. Here's Cameron Clark coughing it up there to Austin Beaulieu. Beaulieu forechecking hard, backhands it around the end boards. Nikita Litviak picks it up. Litviak is shoved there by Cody Wickline. Could have been a cross-check. Now here's Beaulieu coming off the boards. Drops it back to the point. Bombs long shot through traffic at the post. Second chance. Stopped again by O'Brien and picked up by Cameron Clark. Clark off the far half boards. Trickles into center. And here's Berardinelli holding. Looks for the trailer. Just missed him. He was hoping to get it to Cody Wickline. Passing in between his stick and his skates. Meanwhile, here's Jeff Bauman across the Lone Star line. Long-range shot was fanned on by Litviak, picked up by Peter Kessel and cleared out to center. Adam Goodsir assumes possession. Coughs it up there, and it's sprung the other way for Alex Berardinelli. He passes it off, hoping for Kessel. Got Wickline instead. The pass is intercepted. There goes Andre Paisan on a 2-on-1. He's got Goodsir with him. Goodsir in, shoots, stopped there by O'Brien. Loose puck cleared out of the blue paint. And a quick whistle has blown this play dead. Sean Giles, folks, just saved a goal for the Lone Star Brahmas. O'Brien made the save, but it was trickling in behind him in the blue paint. Slowly but surely making its way across that red goal line, and Sean Giles, an alternate captain for Lone Star, cleared it seconds before it had crossed the line. Very resemblant of the play that Noah Gilraith made last weekend against the Jackalopes. Rourke Russell clears out to center ice. Dalton Skelly fires it right back in. Kapelmaster lets it go past him, and now here's Rourke again. For his defensive partner tonight, Michael Rounds, the 2 youngest defensemen on the Wildcats are paired up here tonight. Andre Paisan tries to squeeze his way past a couple of Brahmas, no luck with that. Zimmerman goes up the near corner boards with it. Matt Christian tries to clear. Christian is shoved down there by Garrett Van Wy. Puck batted back into the Wildcat zone by Max Reisinger, who goes for a line change. Dalton chips it back out to center. The West Coast line is back on the ice for the Cats. Eric Yeager, Ben Lown, and Garrett Van Wy. All 3 of them from the western portion of the United States. They get the puck into the Lone Star zone. It's whacked back down the far half wall. Yeager trying to go after it. Davidson will scoop it up. The Brahmas had outnumbered the Cats in that far corner. Picked up by Van Wy. He centers blindly, intercepted there by Matt Christian. Van Wy is still fighting hard for it. Goes after it behind the Lone Star net. Davidson drops it off for Zimmerman. Zimmerman goes off the glass, held in. Gilraith, long slap shot, fought off by O'Brien. Pops in behind the net. Yeager's a bit handcuffed there by Dalton Skelly. Skelly wedges it up the boards. Sheptitsky battling for it. Now it's picked up by Zimmerman once more. Zimmerman works his way out in front of his own goal and hands one across for Dalton Skelly. Fanned on the outlet pass, intercepted by Van Wy in neutral ice, who tried to do a pretty slick move to get his way around Sheptitsky. No luck with that. And the Brahmas have just cleared the puck into the Wildcat zone. Some tired skaters on the ice for both squads, it looks like now. Jake Dalton has been on the ice for quite some time. Albrecht nudges it forth. Rosa tried to play it in front for Lown. It went off a Brahmas skate. Dementis Sipis works his way into the slot, tries to wheel it back to Albrecht there, and it's intercepted. Albrecht hustling on the back check as Carson Kelly leads the rush the other way for the Lone Star Brahmas. Chips it deep in behind the Wildcats net. Johnny Lazarus awaiting the pass from Rosa, intercepted by Bates. His shot fought off Kapelmaster, taken by Dementis Sipis, and the Wildcats escape with no harm done. Johnny Lazarus overskates the puck, kicked into the offensive zone. Here's Albrecht moving in all alone. Albrecht is hooked, he falls down. No penalty, and the Brahmas escape all harm, and it looks like that left peg was knocked off its moorings, so we get a whistle and a big break for the Lone Star Brahmas. That is the last guy. If you're the Lone Star Brahmas, that's the last guy you want on a breakaway against your goaltender, who has been shaky up till this point in the game. He's given up 2 goals on 13 shots, the first of which he certainly should have stopped. Madej chips the puck out to center ice. Bolio bats it right back the other direction. Alex Berardinelli in across the line. Slides it to the right wing side for Kessel, whose shot went up high and went off the glass. Held in, Bud Madej. Left point, takes a long wrist shot, redirected wide. Puck bounces in front, and Goodsir clears it there for Dementis Sipis. Goes around the far boards with it. Bolio with a good pass, springs Nikita Litviak down the left wing. Litviak one-on-one on Madej. He shoots, and it's fought off by the shoulder of Connor O'Brien. Goodsir jars it loose behind the Lone Star net. Now here's Peter Kessel. Detroit, Michigan native dropped it off for Alex Berardinelli, whose long shot was blocked. Berardinelli once more rattles it behind the Wildcats net. Bud Madej tried to give it back to him, but he's going to the bench for a line change. Rourke Russell chips it up into the air. Oscar Andrin pinned to the corner boards there by Michael Rounds. Andrin chips it back to Mellberg. His shot from a bad angle didn't get all the way through. Rourke Russell shoots it around the corner wall. Bolio tried to chip it out. Bolio's been out there a while. He manages to clear on his backhand and get it out to center ice, but he's not able to make a line change. Litviak is. He's replaced by Reisinger. Here's Andrin moving in, shooting, and went off a Wildcat stick. I believe it was Goodsir's. Andrin pushes it in deep. Fallon shot, stopped by Kappelmaster, loose at the side of the net, and the official lost sight of the puck, so he has blown his whistle perhaps a bit prematurely, and it favors the Wildcats, who dodged a bit of a bullet there. Joey Fallon had a point-blank try on Kappelmaster, albeit from a bad angle, but we've seen crazier things happen. Joey Fallon, of course, committed to Princeton University for next season, where he very well may play with Austin Shaw, the former Wildcats goaltender. This faceoff is going to remain in the Wildcats zone. It will be the European line, assuming there are spots on the ice for the Wildcats, and the Michigan pair on defense, Jake Dalton and Noah Gilreath. Wildcats win the draw. Paisan slipped it backhand onto the tape for Max Reisinger. Bounces every which way. Finally, Paisan regains possession and shoots it into the Lone Star zone, where O'Brien will drop it off behind the Lone Star net. Giles out to center, hoping for Andrin. Stymied by Gilreath, chopped at by Paisan, and rattled up the boards again. Cam Clark is back. The NAHL's Defenseman of the Month played at D-to-D for Sean Giles, the Lone Star alternate captain, who redirected one off of Fallon's stick and into the offensive zone. Noah Gilreath guns back after it. Jake Dalton picks it up, banks it off the corner wall. Paisan gets it out to center, and here's Giles. Clark had gained the red line before dumping it, so no icing. Kappelmaster drops it off. Jake Dalton, the Bowling Green commit, has to turn away from the forecheck of Hogan Davidson. Played it off the skates of Alexei Poikula. Poikula had gained the red line before dumping the puck in, and now here's Dalton Skelly. Skelly with plenty of time behind his own net. Here's Hogan Davidson back across the Wildcats line. Davidson rattles it in deep and behind the net of Justin Kappelmaster. Puck bounces in the air. Matt Christian and Jeff Baum battling for it now. Berardinelli in the mix there as well. Jeff Baum nudges it loose. Slides it rink wide, and there's Garrett Van Wy. Van Wy springs Ben Lown. Ben Lown takes the shot. Stopped there by Connor O'Brien, and he hangs on. It's going to be Connor O'Brien's 13th save of the night for the Lone Star Brahmas. Kapellmeister has made 13 stops, has yet to give up a goal. The Brahmas have only been shut out twice all season long. One came in the showcase at the hands of the Fairbanks Ice Dogs, who've arguably been the best team in the North American Hockey League this season. As of right now, they are third behind these two teams playing tonight. Rourke Russell's long shot just missed the near post by inches. Picked up by Albrecht. Dished in behind the net. Nick Rosas tried to slide it back to Rourke, but it was intercepted. There goes Troy York the other way. York slides it into the middle. Here's a shot. Went off the crossbar. Boy, was that close. I believe that was Brandon Estes, the recipient of a beautiful pass by Peter Bates. And it looks like the Wildcats will be guilty of a penalty here. Be holding, I believe, against Wichita Falls. Rourke Russell heading to the sin bin now. The Parkway Grill penalty kill has looked solid. It's only had one chance to shine here tonight, but it looked pretty good on it without Adam Goodser available, as he was the one who took the penalty, and now they get their second opportunity. And a chance to creep up on the Lone Star Brahmas, who have had the best penalty kill in the North American Hockey League from virtually the start of the season. Wichita Falls, of course, right behind them, less than 2 percentage points away from tying them. Bud Madej gains the blue line, puts on the brakes, right point. It's slithered in behind the Wildcats net. Oscar Andren chips it further. Martin Melberg wraps it around the half wall. Backhanded deep by Cameron Clark. Rosa and Fallon come together there. Jake Dalton tries to cycle it up the boards, hoping for Beaulieu. Instead, it's the other number 18, Bud Madej. Here's Martin Melberg, drops it off. Cameron Clark hammers a shot, stopped by Kapellmeister, but another penalty will be called against the Wildcats, and now their penalty killing unit will really be tested. They're going to be down 2 men. A 5-on-3 power play for the Lone Star Brahmas, whose power play has surprisingly not been very good this season. Just 16.1%, 14th in the North American Hockey League. That's a below average power play from a team that has been otherwise fantastic from start to finish this season. And they're hoping to get their power play numbers fixed, or at least improved here in the coming weeks, and this is a glorious chance to do so. November's Defenseman of the Month with the puck now in the deep slot. Slowly guides it across for Dalton Skelly and gets it right back. Cameron Clark to the goal line. He goes to the net. Melberg, one-timer from Skelly, fought off Kapellmeister. Slipped back to Dalton Skelly now. He walks the point. Cam Clark's right behind him, goes across to Bates. Skelly gets the return, then gives it. Bates has it, far circle. Clark wants the one-timer, instead goes across. Melberg holds and gave it away. It was intercepted by Adam Goodser, who clears the puck all the way down. 38 seconds now remain on the 5-on-3 for the Wildcats. A minute 20 remain on the penalty kill in general. Berardinelli down the left wing, skates around Demontis Sipis, goes around the far half boards with it. Dalton Skelly's got it, a power play specialist. Here's Cam Clark, near circle, looks for a lane, doesn't see one, so he'll just go back to Skelly. Skelly towards the goal line for Berardinelli. Cam Clark hammers a one-timer, fought off by the blocker of Kapellmeister. Bounces in behind. Kessel tries to send it back to the point. Picked up by Berardinelli. Given back to Clark again. Clark for Berardinelli. Far circle. Takes the shot. Blocked by Gilraith. Dalton Skelly towards the corner. Russell's out of the box. It's now a 5-on-4 for the Brahmas. Skelly across for Clark. Clark with tons of room. He fires, and that one went off of the mesh and behind the net. Looks like it went straight up. Didn't even hit a stick or anything. He just missed. And that's going to do it for the 5-on-3. However, the Wildcats are still without one of their better defensemen, Jake Dalton, for the next 37 seconds. So they've got to avoid resting here. And it looks like Adam Goodser is being sent back out there. He has played the entire 5-on-3, and now he's going to take another defensive zone face-off. A lot of penalty killing time for the young Adam Goodsir, and he's made good on it. Here he goes down the right wing side. Goodsir is in on his backhand. He shoots. He scores. Adam Goodsir managed to squeak it past the blocker of Connor O'Brien, and the Wildcats with another shorthanded goal lead 3-0. And that will do it for Connor O'Brien. He's been replaced by Corbin Kaspersky. O'Brien had given up 3 goals on 16 shots. Not his best performance. And Kaspersky's in now to do a little damage control as the penalty to Jake Dalton has just expired. Look out, it's loose in the blue paint. Kappelmaster's sitting on it, and finally the whistle blows. And the Wildcats have done it. They are 3 for 3 on the Parkway Grill penalty kill here tonight. And the 5-on-3, followed by a 5-on-4 for the Lone Star Brahmas, did not go as planned. Kaspersky still getting loose in the crease down there. Going to be Hogan Davidson's line to take this offensive zone draw. Sean Giles doubles back, and it looks like the Brahmas head coach Dan Wildfong has done a bit of defensive pair shuffling. Sean Giles no longer with Cameron Clark. He's instead with John Zimmerman. Zimmerman's got it now, right point. Tries to walk the line, takes a shot, went off Paisan's stick, flutters into the air, and it's going to be scooped up by Max Reisinger. Reisinger, the most veteran Wildcat, battling for it in front of the Wichita Falls bench. Davidson chips it ahead, Baum swings it D to D, and now Sipus will gain the red line and fire it in. Kaspersky with his first touch on the puck tonight. Played it behind the Lone Star net. Davidson nudges it loose. Eric Yeager nearly hit the official in the head. Puck works its way to the far corner. Four players battle for it, equally divided. Van Wy chips it loose in behind the Lone Star net. Lown backhands one to Dalton at the point, whose shot didn't get through Christian. Meanwhile, Sean Giles regains the Wildcats line. He tried to pass one to the slot, hoping for Christian. It was batted down. Here come the Wildcats. Ben Lown into the circle, drops it off. Moving in is Yeager. His shot just missed. That was Dalton, rather. Held in near point. Van Wy chips it in deep. Giles slams it off the glass and out to center ice. Noah Gilraith. Wickline. Sean Giles. Giles has to turn away from Lown, who's been harassing him all evening long on the forecheck. Here come the Brahmas, however. It is Cody Wickline crisscrossing with Berardinelli. Wickline the shot. Missed high, went off the glass. Kessel plays it in deep. Too far for Wickline. Berardinelli's going to pick it up near circle. Tries to guide it in behind, intercepted by Nick Rosa. Turned over, Kessel's shot, in and out of the glove of Kappelmaster. Rebound bounces all the way out to the point. Madej hammers a shot that was blocked. Flutters every which way, and finally the Cats are able to get it out to center. And Brandon Estes tries to shoot it back in. I think this might have gone into the bench. Finally, the ref blows his whistle, so we get a stoppage with less than 2 minutes remaining in period 2, and the Wildcats leading the Brahmas by a score of 3-0. Goals tonight have been scored by Noah Gilraith, Austin Bolio, and Adam Goodsir, most recently on the penalty kill. The Wildcats, that's their 4th shorthanded goal this season. So not only has their penalty kill gotten the job done as far as keeping the puck out of their own net, but they've also put in quite a few themselves. Nearing the 90 percentile in penalty killing. They've got 4 shorthanded goals, so they're doing something right when they're shorthanded. There's no question about that. Dalton Skelly gave it away to Nikita Litviak, who centered, hopped over the stick of Bolio, rescued by Russell, kept in by Rounds, whose shot didn't get through. There goes Dalton Skelly down the right wing side, run into by Bolio. Skelly turns and fires it back into the Wildcat zone. 70 seconds remain in period 2. Nikita Litviak deliberately through center, dodging all kinds of traffic. Litviak takes a weak shot, rolls into the glove of Kaspersky, and he hangs on. And the last minute of play is brought to you by La Quinta Inn and Suites, the official host hotel of your Wichita Falls Wildcats. We got just under 90 seconds remaining on this man advantage, and now John LaFontaine giving orders out to his defenseman running this power play, Jeff Baum. 6 seconds to go. You'd have to think LaFontaine was notifying him about the time remaining. The Wildcats have got to get a quick shot away, but they might not be able to do so. Lazarus lost the faceoff. The Brahmas will eat up the remainder of this time in the corner, and that's going to do it for period 2. 40 minutes of hockey have gone by here at the KYC. The Wildcats now with a 3-goal lead over the Lone Star Brahmas. 3-0 the score in favor of Wichita Falls. 21-18 are the shots on goal. The goals tonight have been scored by Noah Gilraith, Austin Bolio, and Adam Goodsir in that order. The first of which was Noah Gilraith's first goal, the last of which was Adam Goodsir's first shorthanded goal. And it's all smiles for the Wildcats, who go back to the dressing room with a 3-goal lead and will return with 81 seconds remaining on their Jim Arnold Collision power play, their second of the night. We're going to take a short break here from the KYC. Again, 40 minutes have gone by, 3-0 the score in favor of the Wildcats. When we come back, we'll break down this game in a little better detail for you, as well as give you some updates from around the South Division. Stay tuned. All right, welcome to the second intermission report, Wildcats fans. 40 minutes into this game, your Wichita Falls Wildcats now hold a 3-0 lead over the Lone Star Brahmas. Fast Hockey has labeled this game the NAHL's Game of the Week. The two best teams in the North American Hockey League meeting on the same ice surface for the fourth time this season, but it's the first time that the Brahmas are here at the KYC. Playing against the Wildcats, who are 7-1-0 in this building. They've had a phenomenal season, both at home and on the road. Their only defeat on this ice came at the hands of the Topeka Roadrunners a couple of weekends ago. The scoring in this game was opened by Noah Gilraith just 5.5 minutes in. Gilraith banked it off the end boards, and I believe it went off of Connor O'Brien's left skate and into the back of the net. So, hey, you'll take him any way that you can. And Noah Gilraith has his first goal as a Wichita Falls Wildcat. So congratulations, Noah. Very well deserved. A very hard-working player for Coach LaFontaine and the Wildcats. A player that was pretty highly touted coming onto this team. He was one of the best defensemen in the NA3HL last season with the Point Mallard Ducks, and he's transitioned quite well. Adam Goodsir and Austin Bolio would score the next two goals. It looks like Point Streak has those goals reversed. The second goal was actually scored by Austin Bolio. The third was scored by Adam Goodsir. So the order is flipped. The assists are flipped as well. But in the end, it's the same amount of points for both players. So I would assume that they'll just leave the statistics as is. Case, the Wildcats have a 3-0 lead over the Lone Star Brahmas and an edge in the shots department, 21-18. As for some other updates from around the North American Hockey League, the only other teams playing tonight are from the South Division, so again, that keeps things relevant for the Wildcats. The Odessa Jackalopes again hosting a team at the Ector County Coliseum, where they've been excellent this season. The only teams that have beaten them at that rink have been the Amarillo Bulls and the Wildcats. The Bulls just once in a shootout, the Wildcats a few times. One of which was in a shootout. The other two were in regulation. They're hosting the Corpus Christi Ice Rays. Colton Meekoff scored the lone second period goal to get the Ice Rays back in front, who now lead 3-2 over the Odessa Jackalopes. Corpus Christi has struggled this season. They have not had their best start to the year, as they are now 5th in the South Division with just 15 points. 6-12-13 is their record. So it has not been a phenomenal start to the season for Coach John Bisanek and the Ice Rays. Get things turned around against the Odessa Jackalopes. To the score in that game. Now in its second intermission. Topeka also hosts the Amarillo Bulls tonight. 3-2 also the score in that game. Topeka with an edge in shots, 22-14 over the Amarillo Bulls, who have not won a game in nearly a month. The last time they got 2 points from a game was against the Wildcats way back on November 6th. And Cats fans remember that game, and not for the right reasons. It was one of the worst games the Cats have played all season long, in the 4-1 defeat at the Amarillo Civic Center less than a month ago. But ever since then, the Bulls have been unable to muster up a win. They came very close against the Wildcats. In fact, they came 0.2 seconds away from beating them again. 21st, the last time the Cats were up there, but Get that last second goal, the buzzer beater scored by Austin Albrecht to send that game into overtime. Result in Adam Goodser scoring his 13th goal of this season. Sending the Wildcats home back to Wichita Falls with a comeback win for the ages. Amarillo now trails Topeka 3-2. The goals have been scored from Topeka by Sammy Tavernier, Quinn Preston, and Matt Jennings. From Amarillo, George Mika on the power play, and Liam Ferguson on even strength early on in period 2. That game also nearing its second intermission. We'll be sure to keep you updated on the other two South Division matchups as this game goes along. Meanwhile, at the KYC, we're about 5.5 minutes out from third period action presented by American Classifieds, and we hope you can tune in to watch the Wildcats try to earn their 7th straight win, and who better to do it against than the Lone Star Brahmas, the second best team in the North American Hockey League, trailing only the Cats. We'll be back to bring you all that and more in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the K. Yeager Coliseum, folks. We're just about 80 seconds away from third period puck drop. And the Wildcats, of course, with a 3-0 lead over the Lone Star Brahmas, whose rigorous and religious system has failed them up till this point in the game. The Brahmas are 9-0 against the Amarillo Bulls using that system, a system which has made Dan Wildfang regarded as one of the top coaches in this league, a system which has led the Brahmas to so many successful campaigns, both when they were a professional organization and a junior organization. But it's a system that has not been able to get the job done against the Wichita Falls Wildcats, and you've got to give credit to not just the players but the coaching staff, the amount of time it takes to prepare for a team like this that is so system-based and so dead set on following a certain game plan. It really takes some time to adjust, to get the players on board, to send a clear message, and to break everything down in strategy sessions, and that is exactly what John LaFontaine and Josh Nelson have done. The majority of coaching doesn't happen on the bench, it happens behind the scenes, and it has certainly paid off tonight for the Wildcats, at least up till now. Poikala jars it loose now for Goodsir behind the Lone Star net. It is centered there for Eric Yeager. He's got Michael Rounds from straight away. He holds on, doesn't shoot. Austin Beaulieu for Rounds, whose one-timer rattled up off the glass, goes high. Yeager slips it in front. Poikala jams at it. Knocked loose off the skates of Beaulieu, who has to turn the Wildcats down to 40 seconds on the man advantage. Rounds doesn't pull the trigger this time. Gives it to Yeager. Left half boards, it's centered through the slot, goes all the way off the far half wall. Goodsir backhands one off the boards. Berardinelli chops it all the way down the ice, and he's going to go for a line change with half a minute remaining on the Wildcats' second Jim Arnold collision power play of the night. Michael Rounds, one of the top power play quarterbacks for the Wildcats, sets up Lazarus on a rink-wide pass, and one man had jumped the gun, not sure who it was, but an offside whistle is a result against Wichita Falls, so we get our first whistle of period 3. Nick Rosa will take the draw now in the neutral zone, and he loses it cleanly to Peter Bates. Behind the Lone Star net, Dalton Skelly rims it around the boards, held in by Baum. Baum plays it towards the near corner. Austin Albrecht had it bounce on him. Chipped out to center by Hogan Davidson, and that's just about going to do it for the Wildcats power play. Now 0 for 2 on the night. And the league's best penalty kill just continues to shut the Wildcats down. Hogan Davidson turns, had his pocket picked there, at least temporarily by Rosa, but Davidson recovered. Slips one to the outside. Sean Giles gains the blue line and wraps it around the end wall. Kappelmaster leaves it there. Johnny Lazarus tried to airmail a pass out to center. He was hoping for Albrecht. Instead, he got Rosa after it was batted down there by Martin Melberg. Now it's in the Lone Star zone. Zimmerman outlets it ahead. Batted down by Gilraith. Melberg had it stolen from him by Gilraith, who played it off the sideboards and out to center. Sean Giles now for Melberg. Swiped off his stick there by Dalton. Back out to center. Lown trickles it across the line. Van Wy was waiting for it. Yeager battles onto the puck. Takes a man down with him. Yeager turns and shoots. Missed the net wide. Dalton jumps over to the right point to keep the puck alive. He does. Chops it behind the Lone Star net. 17.5 minutes remain in period 3. The Wildcats lead 3-0 as Cameron Clark strips Ben Lown of the puck and swings it to the outside for Melberg, nearing the end of his shift. Melberg played it ahead, hoping for Andren. Fallon just runs into Gilraith, and Melberg trickles one through the blue paint and wide. Cameron Clark jumps over to keep the puck alive for the Brahmas. Melberg chips it further. Eric Yeager's going to go back behind his own net. Overskated the puck a bit. We've got some tired skaters on either side. Quite a few of whom are battling for that puck now. Madej trying to chip it back to Peter Kessel, manning the left point now. Kessel returns it for Madej. Trying to work his way off of Eric Yeager, who's just stymieing him every step of the way. And now Joey Fallon protects the puck in behind the Wildcats net. On his backhand, he turns with it. Slammed into the board, sent across for Estes, who has no play but to play it into the opposite corner. Peter Kessel now turns and shoots from the goal line, stopped by Kappelmaster, who had the paddle down. Cody Wickline picks up the puck and fires, missed the net high. Goes around the near half wall. The Brahmas have kept the puck in the Wildcat zone for the last minute and a half. Brandon Estes has it. Left point. Tried to play it to Kessel, goes all the way through for Wickline. Behind the net, Berardinelli tried to center for Kessel, went off a Wildcat stick. Gilraith comes together with Berardinelli, both men chopping away at that loose puck along with Ben Lown and Cody Wickline. Finally, it's nudged free for Jake Dalton now. Dalton slams on the brakes behind the Wildcats net, sets up Noah Gilraith, and it's wrapped around the backboards for Eric Yeager, who is simply exhausted. He can barely skate. Finally, he gets the puck out to center and goes for a much-needed line change as he's replaced by Alexei Poikula. Now the European line on the ice for the Wildcats. Andre Paisan, Alexei Poikula, Max Reisinger all on the ice. Meanwhile, Michael Rounds with a full head of steam down the right wing side. Skates it behind the net and centers. It went off a couple of Brahmas skates, and it's going to be skated out of harm's way there by Peter Bates. Bates played it off of a Wildcat stick, and it bounces in the air, delayed offside. Paisan works it back out to neutral ice. Troy York had his stick lifted, but managed to work it back to his defenseman, Dalton Skelly. Puck redirected into the Wildcat zone. Kappelmaster out to Poikula now. Poikula will safely play it in behind his own net. Now he backhands one out into his own slot. Austin Bolio down his off wing, negotiates his way into the offensive zone. Had the puck swept off his stick. Now back in the Wildcat zone. Sipus being told by Kappelmaster to shoot the puck ahead, and that's what he's going to do. Gets it as far as the red line, and it's fired immediately back in. Hogan Davidson on the forecheck. Check that, Matt Christian. Austin Bolio tries to chip it out to center, and he does so. Giles gunning after it. He's pursued closely there by Goodsir. Knocked back in Goodsir's direction by Nikita Litviak. Couple of players battle for it. Now here's Cameron Clark. Backhands one around the end boards. Christian will slam it off the glass and out to center. Now Jeff Baum will take over in neutral ice. 14 minutes and 20 seconds remain. Here's Austin Albrecht down his off wing. With the Wildcats leading 3-0, Albrecht played it in behind for Goodsir. Comes all the way back to Dalton, who shot one off the glass. Albrecht rather, tries to keep it in. Isn't able to do so. Baum will just shoot it back in and go for a line change, as will several of his teammates. 6 minutes have gone by in the third period, brought to you by American Classifieds. The Wildcats with a 3-0 lead here at the KYC, looking to improve to 8-1 in this building and improve to 3-0-1 against the Lone Star Brahmas. Perhaps even shut them out for the second consecutive game. Here's Nick Rosa. Nick Rosa gains the blue line, sets up Jake Dalton, tried to find the trailer there, and it was intercepted by Melberg, and the Wildcats' attack is fizzled out. Long wrist shot from Joey Fallon didn't get through. It was blocked immediately. Garrett Van Wy streaks now down the right wing side. Backhands one, hoping for himself off the boards there. Estes didn't like the looks of that. He stopped him there. Michael Rounds will skate it back into the Brahmas zone. Tried to center. It was in a bit too tight there for Ben Lown. In close quarters with Cody Wickline. Goes behind the Lone Star net. Now here's Bud Madej. Madej will have to spin away from Lown. He shoots it off the far half wall. Puck bounces all the way down into the Wildcat zone. Icing being nullified here. Rounds in behind his own goal around the backboards. Berardinelli tries to keep it in along the point. That's Skelly, rather. Now Berardinelli will give it back to Troy York. The Dallas, Texas native gave it across. Now here's John Zimmerman. Zimmerman tried to send one rink wide. It was picked off because Paisan had his stick on the ice. Not a whole lot of points on the season for Andre Paisan. Just 6 to his name this year, but he has been one of those guys who has just made all the right plays for the Wildcats. He's an older player, a veteran in this league. He played with the Wenatchee Wild last season, a 95 player, so this will be his last season of junior hockey. A native of Herlev, Denmark, he played with the Danish national team for World Juniors a couple of times. Actually made a few good friends with some of his fellow Danish hockey players, one of whom is now playing for the Winnipeg Jets of the NHL, Nikolai Ehlers, having a good season himself. Anyways, Paisan has just really done the little things right for Coach LaFontaine and the Wildcats, and he's the type of player that no coach can have enough of on his team. John Zimmerman, pressured by Goodsir, chipped in behind the Lone Star net. Dalton Skelly will easily outlet this one ahead. Down the right wing side there for Evgeny Sheptitsky. Puck worked its way in front. A backhand attempt from Christian. He fanned on it, and there goes Nikita Litviak. Could have a breakaway. Skelly hustles back. Litviak powers past him. Backhands one towards the blue paint, and it's covered up by the goaltender Corbin Kaspersky. Well, you gotta give credit to Nikita Litviak, not only to earn himself that partial breakaway, but to not fall when he felt the stick of Dalton Skelly around his skates. A lot of players in that situation will just fall to try to embellish a penalty call and hopefully, well, in the hopes of getting a penalty shot. Nikita Litviak didn't even think about doing that. All that was on his mind was trying to work his way to the front of the net and get a clean scoring chance away. A very admirable play there by the Russian winger, Nikita Litviak. Corbin Kaspersky will leave it off, and now here's Sean Giles. Here's Joey Fallon. It's wiped off his stick. Cam Clark from long range, stopped by Kappelmaster. It was a good shot. It was on target. It was nearly redirected there by Joey Fallon, who was lurking right in front of Kappelmaster, partially screening him. And the Wildcats goaltender of the month didn't like the looks of that, so he just dove on top of it and made his 19th save of the night. Wickline wins the faceoff. Cam Clark slides it D to D. Sean Giles plays it into the opposite corner, which is the near corner. Peter Kessel scoops it up behind the Wildcats net, tries to turn and shoot. It's picked off by Austin Albrecht as we near the midway point of period 3. Albrecht works his way into the Lone Star zone. Cam Clark tries to go around the corner boards. Johnny Lazarus is pinned to the glass there by Sean Giles. Now they exchange a few pushes and shoves. Nothing more will come of that. Peter Kessel touches one into the slot. It's loose and kicked on goal, and down goes Clark. Looks like that was a bit of an awkward collision there. Cameron Clark just ran into the net and dislodged it, and it looked like he was tied up. The whistle has blown. Cam Clark appears to be all right. He's skating under his own power back to the Lone Star bench. 10 minutes and 21 seconds remain in period 3. The Wildcats have a 3-0 lead over the Lone Star Brahmas, a lead which has lasted since Adam Goodsir's shorthanded goal, which was scored quite some time ago. The 15-minute mark of period 2, and the Wildcats have just iced the puck. Eric Yeager will take the faceoff against Peter Bates now in the circle to the left of Justin Kappelmaster. 10 minutes and 12 seconds remain in this game unless the Lone Star Brahmas can muster a pretty significant comeback. And they win the draw cleanly. Troy York missed on the shot. Eric Yeager will skate the puck forth through center ice. Sidesteps Troy York, but he lost a handle on the puck in doing so. Now Yeager tries to turn and clear into the Lone Star zone. Bates nudges it free. Now here's Michael Rounce. Rourke Russell from the D-to-D pass sets up his fellow California native and Ben Lown, who was stripped of it just after having crossed the blue line. Kelly one-hands it back into the Wildcat zone. Michael Rounds takes a shove. Eric Yeager battling for it with Kelly now. Nikita Sheptitsky gains the puck and shoots it loose, and now here's Rourke Russell. Russell guides one out to center, a bit too far for Van Wy. Estes picks it up and backhands one back out to neutral ice. Hogan Davidson takes a big hit along the half boards there by Dementis Sipus. Sipus will backhand one around the end boards. Baum chips it out for Garrett Van Wy, ahead for Ben Lown. He had his pocket picked there by John Zimmerman, who's in control now. Redirected into the Wildcat zone by Nikita Sheptitsky. Poikala is knocked off the puck, and it's eventually picked up by Martin Melberg with a shot, fought off Kappelmaster. Banked off the glass and out to neutral ice. Zimmerman takes over. Rattles it back around the glass. Took a funny hop on Kappelmaster, but he played it from his skate to his stick. Got in the lane of Mellberg and gets back in his crease. Here's Andre Paisan down the right wing side. Reisinger to the net. Paisan the shot. Blocked by Skelly. Skelly now maintains possession of the puck through the neutral zone and rattles it around the backboards in the Wildcat zone. Zimmerman tried to slip it in front. It was not quite in the wheelhouse for Martin Mellberg, who turns and shoots, and a stick save is made in goal by Kappelmaster. Banked back in behind the Wildcats net. Gilreath got it to Poikala, who got it to Dalton. The Saginaw, Michigan native, goes D to D for the Grosse Ile, Michigan native. Gilreath tried to give it back to him through neutral ice. Instead, it's picked off and given to Martin Mellberg, who hammers one around the backboards. Kappelmaster lets it go. Gilreath goes rink wide at missed Litviak's stick. Shoot back into Wildcat territory. Peter Kessel on the forecheck knocks Gilreath off the puck. Dalton recovers. Goodser overskates it. Look out, the Brahmas move in. A shot went high. Peter Kessel picks it up. Berardinelli's got it. He shoots, soaked up by Kappelmaster. He's got another save, his 21st of the night. Go to our third period media timeout. We get back to action here. The 20s line assumes their spots on the ice dutifully as a long shot from Cameron Clark is steered aside by Kappelmaster. Second shot stung Reisinger, or that's Rounds rather. Held in far point. Clark powers his way to the net. He shoots, stopped by Kappelmaster again, who lays on it. It's loose and they score. The net was dislodged. Not sure if this goal is going to count, but the Brahmas are celebrating, and I believe this will be a good goal for the Lone Star Brahmas, who have gotten themselves back to within 2. And Cameron Clark is being credited with this goal. Some of the Wildcats players can't believe this goal is going to count. The net was clearly dislodged. The officials discussing this a little bit, but it doesn't look like this is going to go for anything more. And that's going to be a goal for the Brahmas. Cameron Clark has got another one. He continues to have a hot stick. His third goal of the season, 17th point. He is now second. Sole possession of second place on the Brahmas for points. He trails only Oscar Andren, and for a defenseman, that's simply incredible. And the shutout bid for Justin Kappelmaster has just come to an end. Adam Goodser will now take the face-off. The Brahmas are starting to feel some momentum after that last goal. Goodser wins the draw, however. Nikita Litviak returns it for him. Goodser chips it off the skate of Brandon Estes. Kaspersky banks it off the glass. Troy York gives it back to Estes and gets it on the return. York dances his way through his own zone, and Bud Madej will now shoot it around the end boards. And now Dementis Sipis fed it rink wide off the stick of Bolio and back into center. Mellberg slipped it through neutral ice, and Madej will have to recover. Wildcats have really been able to take away all sorts of passing lanes for the Lone Star Brahmas. And outlet passes Lone Star is typically able to make, they have not been able to tonight, as they have just been stymied and frustrated in every sense of the word. But it looks like Garrett Van Wy is going to get a penalty for bringing down Joey Fallon. Delayed call upcoming. Dalton dives and knocks the puck away. A good defensive effort by Jake Dalton. But the Brahmas will be back on the power play, and the Wildcats for the fourth time tonight go to the Parkway Grill penalty kill, which has been good. 3 for 3 on the night against the Brahmas power play, which has been pretty mediocre this season. And the Wildcats looking to improve in the penalty kill department and pass the Brahmas in first place in penalty killing percentage, but the Brahmas are 2 for 2 tonight, so probably not going to happen here tonight. Nick Rosa is going to take the face-off against Cody Wickline now. Wildcats penalty kill nearing the 90% mark. Rosa wins the draw cleanly. Dalton got it for Gilraith, who had his pocket picked by Berardinelli, and Rosa wasted no time blasting the puck off of Cameron Clark's skates and all the way back down into the Lone Star zone. Dalton Skelly for Cameron Clark. Clark will now skate through center. He passed one a bit errantly. It was picked off by Andre Paisan, who swoops it right back into the Lone Star zone, and Dalton Skelly will have to turn. Clark wants his fellow defenseman to get things going here. The Brahmas are slowly running out of time in this game. They still trail by 2 goals and have only 5.5 minutes remaining in the third period. Puck given around the boards. Here's Dalton Skelly, near side. Cameron Clark plays it across for Peter Kessel. Had his pocket picked by Adam Goodser. Goodser skates it with some speed down the right wing side. He's going to kill a little bit of time by skating it into the slot, taking it wide and firing off the skate of Cameron Clark. And now it's picked up by Berardinelli. Here's a good pass for Berardinelli, who tried to toe drag past Jeff Baum. Good luck with that. Kappelmaster went down. Not sure what happened there, but the Wildcats are able to clear, and they now just have 35 seconds on the Garrett Van Wy penalty before they improve to 4 for 4. Good interception there by the Wildcats. Eric Yeager and Austin Albrecht came together. Albrecht wheels around the defense. He's in. He shoots. Pad save by Kaspersky. What a move by Austin Albrecht to fight his way to the net. Boy, this kid's got some hands. And that's going to do it. What a good note to end on for that Parkway Grill penalty kill. The Wildcats now 4 for 4 on their shorthanded unit tonight. The Brahmas had a couple of good looks, but the Wildcats had equally good looks, it seemed. As Yeager tries to one-hand it deep into the Lone Star zone, Cameron Clark intercepted it. Less than 4 minutes to go, and the Brahmas' top defenseman leads the rush. He's onside, he holds, he shoots, and it went off a stick and over the glass and out of play. .48 remain in period 3. The Brahmas with just a little bit of a surge after that last goal scored by their go-to defenseman, Cameron Clark, who's been on the ice for the last 4 minutes. He stays out there with Coach Dan Wildfong desperate for a goal. He's going to leave number 15 in black on the ice. Here's a long shot from Giles that went off a Brahmas stick and well high of the goal. Albrecht strips Troy York of the puck. Rourke Russell floats it out to center, and Cam Clark regains possession. He goes D-to-D for Sean Giles. Played it off the stick of Carson Kelly. Kappelmaster will pick it up. Kappelmaster wheels it around the boards. It's going to be held in. Berardinelli shot one off his own player, and Cam Clark, who was a bit stung by the shot and labors back to the Lone Star bench. Not only did he block his own teammate's shot, but he was at the end of an extremely long shift. Puck played towards the corner. Rounds tries to chip it out to center. He does. Paisan's got it loose somewhere in his skates, and he can't find it. Finally, he gets back on it. Down the right wing, takes the shot, blocked by Wickline. Goes towards the left corner. Backhanded down there by Peter Kessel. 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Look to the net to our left will probably be vacant here pretty soon, with the Brahmas needing at least 2 goals to get this thing tied. Bud Madej. D-to-D for Dalton Skelly, rather. Quite a few tongue twisters on this team. Kelly, Skelly, Berardinelli, you name it. Reisinger for Austin Bolio down his off wing rather. Puck trickles towards the goal. Baum is tripped up by the goaltender, Kaspersky, no penalty. Held in by Dementis Sipis. Turned over to Joey Fallon. Martin Melberg gains the red line out on neutral ice, and Goodsir will recover and turn away with it and bank it out to center. Kaspersky looks to the bench, and there he goes. He's going to go to the Lone Star bench. 6 attackers on the ice for the Brahmas. Puck played beyond the reach of Litviak and all the way down. Icing will be the call against the Wildcats. 1:48 remains in this game here at the K. Yeager Coliseum. The Wichita Falls Wildcats suddenly nursing a bit of a delicate lead here. 3-1 the score. Brahmas can feel a big comeback here. They have not really gotten a whole lot going on the Wildcats this game. But hockey is a game of inches, and all it takes is one bounce to completely change things around. And now both teams' coaches going over orders with their troops on their respective benches. Both of these coaches very well respected around the North American Hockey League. Both of them have been known for their tenacity and their ability to adjust to certain situations. Both of them pretty brilliant tacticians. But this is not an area where Dan Wildfang is very familiar. In most situations this season, the Lone Star Brahmas have had leads this late in the game. They are not used to having to come from behind like this. So we'll see what they can do. The Wildcats, on the other hand, are very accustomed to having leads this late in the game. And for the most part have done a pretty good job of shutting opponents down. However, a couple of weekends ago when the Topeka Roadrunners were in town, they nearly mustered a comeback late in the third period. We'll see what happens here. 100 seconds remain in this game. 6 attackers on the ice for the Lone Star Brahmas. Martin Melberg, Oscar Andrin, Joey Fallon, Cam Clark, Bud Madej, and Troy York on the ice for the Brahmas. Adam Goodsir, Dementis Sipis, Jeff Baum, Nikita Litviak, and Austin Albrecht now on the ice for the Wildcats. Puck is being battled for by several players along the far half wall. It's nudged free back to the far point. Cam Clark nearly took his teammate's head off there, and Melberg, or check that, Andrin, goes in behind the net. Andrin's got it now, far circle. Works his way away from Adam Goodsir, plays it towards the corner for his fellow Swede, Martin Melberg. Knocked off the puck by Jeff Baum, sprung out to neutral ice. Litviak is tripped, Albrecht's got a wide open net. Albrecht the shot, he scores! And that's gonna ice the game for the Wichita Falls Wildcats. They're gonna improve to 8-1 at the KYC this season. And they're gonna improve to 3-0-1 against the Lone Star Brahmas. The last minute of play is brought to you by La Quinta Inn and Suites, the official host hotel of your Wichita Falls Wildcats, who are just going to let this game come to an end. Half a minute remains in the contest. The Brahmas are going to be sent home with another regulation loss. They've only lost 3 games this season, including this one in regulation time, one of which came at the very beginning of the season against the Topeka Roadrunners. The other was a shutout last week by the Wichita Falls Wildcats at the Nitex Sports Center. 4-0 was the final in that game. 4-1 will be the final in this game. The Wildcats now 21-3-2. They continue to be the best team in the North American Hockey League. The Brahmas continue as the second best team, and they're going to send them back home to suburban Fort Worth on a long and cold bus drive. And the Wildcats just continue to dominate the South Division in the North American Hockey League. We're going to take one last short break. We're going to await our three-star selection presented by Kona Ice. When we come back, we'll break down this game for you and go over some out-of-town scores in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. The three-star selection presented by Kona Ice has just been given by the Wildcats public address announcer here at the KYC, Charles Campbell. The three stars are as followed. Number 3, Noah Gilraith, the defenseman for the Wildcats, scored the first goal of the game, opened the scoring, and scored his first goal as a Wichita Falls Wildcat. Congratulations, Noah. Very much deserved. The second star, Austin Bolio, had the game-winning goal not long after Gilraith's goal. Bolio scored his 7th goal of the season, also had an assist on Goodzer's shorthanded goal. And finally, Justin Kappelmaster made 22 stops on 23 shots. Tremendous game once again for Justin Kappelmaster, Wildcats goaltender. We're going to give you one last quick out-of-town scoreboard update. As was mentioned earlier, the only other teams playing here tonight are all in the South Division. The Corpus Christi Ice Rays out in Odessa late in period 3 with a 3-2 lead over the Jackalopes. The Amarillo Bulls trailing the Topeka Roadrunners now 4-2 up at the Landon Arena in Topeka, Kansas. Again, 4-2 the score in that game about halfway through period 3. 4-1 the score here at the KYC in favor of the Wichita Falls Wildcats. The goals tonight for the Lone Star Brahmas, their only goal came from Defenseman of the Month for November, Cameron Clark. It was a bit controversial as the net had been dislodged, but the goal stands, and Cameron Clark's got his 3rd goal for the Brahmas this season and his 17th point. Impressive numbers for the Lone Star defenseman. However, Noah Gilraith, the Wildcat defenseman, opened the scoring for the Cats, scored his first goal as a Wildcat. Adam Goodser and Austin Bolio would score later, and Austin Albrecht would ice the game for the Wichita Falls Wildcats and score his second empty net goal of the season. He now has an incredible 32 points this year. That's going to just about wrap things up here from the KYC. We really hope you enjoyed the broadcast tonight. We apologize if there were any technical difficulties on YouTube or on fasthockey.com. Again, thank you so much, fans, for tuning in on this Thursday night to enjoy the Clash of the Titans. It means so much to us to have you tuning in and enjoying some Wildcats hockey on the Wildcats Broadcast Network. And that's about it for the KYC. I'm Alex Von Koidel, thanking you for tuning in and saying enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time.